In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a list in R. A list is a lot like a vector in that it's got an ordered set of elements. The main difference between a vector and a list is with a list, the elements can be of different types. So that you can have some string elements, then you can have some numbers, and if you needed to, you could have some logical, true-false statements in there. Whereas with a vector, all the elements have to be of the exact same type. They either all have to be logical things, they all have to be characters or strings, or they all have to be numbers. The way you go about making a list is a lot like you'd make a vector. To keep it, you'd want to assign it to some kind of a variable. And then instead of using the C command at the beginning, the combined, you use this list command. And then you just type in the elements you want. So I'm going to type in a string, which is my first name, and then I'll type in a number, and then I'll type in false. So I have something that contains all three types there. And what you'll notice if you go over to your environment, what it'll give back to you is something that'll say your data is an X. It's a list of three things. And in this case, there's some characters, that's my name. There's a numeric thing, that's the 43, and then there's the logical element there. Whereas if I try to do the exact same thing using the combine command, so I'm going to make a vector out of this stuff, and I'll make this a guy Y. I get a value over here Y, and in all actuality, if I scoot this over for us, you'll see that my vector Y actually has three strings in it. So vectors, they want to all be the same elements, whereas with a list, they can be different types of elements. Now, something else you can do with this vector, because it's going to mainly be used for collecting data, say from different individuals, is you can go ahead and add names to each type of piece of data you're collecting. So this is how this becomes useful if you were collecting data from many different individuals. It might be nice to have the first element in here have a name, the second element have a different kind of name, and the third element have another kind of name, so it tells you, what they actually stand for. So I'm going to say the first element is supposed to be the name of the subject you're looking at. So that'll be my name, Jeremy. And then the second thing I'll say will be the age. So I'm just typing in the name I want for that particular piece of information, the equal sign, and then the piece of information I want. And then where I grew up. Did I grow up in New Hampshire? Okay. And I did not grow up in New Hampshire, so I'll just type in false there. And so what this does is now it makes my list X have names over here. So I have a name, age, and New Hampshire, and then the values are attached to it in that case. So if I come back over and I type in X, what it gives me is my list. It tells me the name for each type of variable or each type of information, then it tells me the actual value for it. Okay, so that's how you can go about making a list.